Here, a film which well and truly endured into this century, when considerations of finest 1980s films were listed, widely considered one of the very best final features from a great filmmaker, closing the short, relatively but immensely iconic career of inestimable Sergio Leone. Regularly called one of the finest of all crime/gangster pictures, Once Upon a Time in America appears to hold the possible distinction of an American-centric mafia piece that was helmed by a non-American and non-English speaker at that. We consider the major gangster films of America's history to have been directed by Americans, from Coppola to Scorsese, De Palma, maybe Lumet, or going back earlier to Wellman, Huston, Hawks, and Sternberg, arriving in America at age 3 from Austria, but thoroughly an American auteur. One could forget that within this continuum of pre-war and pre-new wave gangster film directors existed some external perspectives that were vital to the genre's developing. Do consider Curtiz from Hungary, or Siodmak from Germany, or, highly important, Lang, also hailing from Germany. If Chinatown is to be considered definitive, it was helmed by a French-Polish expatriate, albeit not a mafia film in the same noticeable mode. I'd imagine this being a common title to claim as one of the best films of its year of release, 1984 AD, and I would sunnily concur, and worth sitting alongside it are Du Yong Lee spinning the tale of cruelty towards women, Frear's The Hit, De Palma's Body Double, Cameron's The Terminator, maybe the Coen's Blood Simple, maybe Jaffe's The Killing Fields, maybe Spielberg's Temple of Doom, maybe Dante's Gremlins, maybe Radford's 1984, maybe Lynch's Dune, maybe Richter's Buckaroo Banzai, and probably some other similarly worthy or worthier films which aren't necessarily coming to my mind at this point. One of the few films that was really worthy of the hype, and few films were as hyped as this one, only 250 odd were really, really hyped in my more formative, more skewed, long peeled perspective. Most likely one of the longest films which flies by the promptest, along with Seven Samurai, Lawrence of Arabia, and a seminal predecessor to it, The Godfather Part 2. Really considering it now, I would say I prefer Once Upon a Time in America to Mean Streets and Goodfellas, and all the other Scorsese mob films, to Scarface, to even the Lumet films, Anderson Tapes, Dog Day Afternoon, Prince of the City, Q&A, and possibly even both Godfather films. I do very much love 2, though. That matchup is likely quite even. Maybe not Chinatown, though. I'd have to really think about that further. A shame we never got to see the Stalingrad epic. If any of those unmade projects really could have been overwhelmingly world-shaking, possibly it would have been that one, Leone's Eastern Front opus. Now that might have been a riveting timeline to daydreamily behold. Though I might argue that this film is not the best film to feature Robert De Niro that was released in the 1980s. Well, could that be Raging Bull or King of Comedy? No, not Angel Heart? Not that either. Not The Mission? Oh, come off it. Not The Untouchables? No. Terry Gilliam's Brazil. I might claim the greatest film of that decade in any of these categories. Now, I'd prefer to prepare for the piece tomorrow, so let's all howl at the moon, get hairy, awake tired, and without clear memory, for the 80s was plausibly the best decade for a certain breed of monster flick. Which one of those could it be? There's a few minor, or unsung, monumental classics to be chosen from.